Hello and welcome to the Scramble. I'm Jenny Liese, and today we'll talk about President Sumatra's State of the University Address, which includes a plan to become a Tier 1 research university. We'll also talk about the opening of the RTC Bus Station on campus and the benefits and problems that come along with it. Also, if time permits, we'll discuss pedestrian safety on and around campus. Joining us are a group of panelists. We have back with us Michael Gordon, a doctoral student in public affairs and the student body president for graduate and professional students, Sara Montes de Oca, a graduate student in journalism and media studies, Padilla, a senior double majoring in journalism and media studies and political science. And we're welcoming a new panelist to the show, Farrihn Enos, a senior in journalism and media studies. Thank you all for being on the show.
Thank you.
Now, President Sumatra has a goal of making UNLV a Tier 1 university, which would make us a prime place for research. The UNLV Tier 1 initiative is an extension of the university's long-standing strategic plan of entering the top 100 American research universities by attaining a Carnegie Foundation designation as a research university. With this could come tuition increases. Do you think UNLV is capable of becoming a Tier 1 university? And what are the problems or benefits that could come along with this Tier 1 status? Michael, do you want to start us off with this?
Sure. First of all, there's 50 states and we have 2 universities. So top 100 universities means that every state should have at least two top 100 universities. So I don't think it's unattainable. I don't think it's out of our reach. Right now, we are designated as a high research university. According to Carnegie, what we're trying to do is become a very high research university. And that, of course, you cannot just do that overnight. Just some of the benefits is we will increase just the output of UNLV within the community by 3 times. Right now, we have a $1.5 billion impact in the Las Vegas Valley. If we become a Tier 1 research university, that will triple to 4.5, maybe even more. Who knows how much external funding we can get. So that, we don't know yet, but are we going to benefit the Valley? Of course we will.
I would definitely agree. It'd definitely be beneficial. Like Michael said, it's not something that can happen overnight, but it seems like we have the right mindset going forward and proceeding with this. I think the frame time was about 10 to 15 years, which I think is very doable. Like he said, we are considered a research-based school, so getting to that high level, that next level, is definitely attainable, I think, especially within that time frame.
And Farrihn, what are your thoughts on the President's State of the University address?
I thought it was good, and I liked the way that he talked about there's new students coming in, which is important if we want to become a top research school, because we need that new student body coming in. So I liked that he talked about that. I also liked that he talked about there were a couple things that they were, looking at the year and what they wanted to change, and that they were accomplishing those. So that tells me also that we can get to a top-tier research school because they're accomplishing their goals. So.
What are your thoughts?
I'm actually a relatively new student to UNLV. I just recently started taking classes here. And as far as the president's plan, I think it's actually over 20 years. And once I found out that it was over a much larger extended period of time, I see it as becoming more feasible. Obviously, I think for any community, having a strong research institution that has a relationship with the people in it is obviously going to be an asset. The feasibility is kind of where I'm still sticking, because the numbers are where UNLV is and where it has to get within the short term even is pretty astronomical. I mean, we have to make up for $40 billion in state funding, and that's $30 million, which is 40% of what you guys lost from 2008 to 2012. And that's just to get on par with these schools.
Which would also mean tuition increases.
Mm-hmm. Which is kind of inevitable. I at least as far as my experience has been, every year tuition increases by a modest percentage at least. And it is something that schools across the country have had to face and deal with, and students. So I guess the cost-benefit analysis there would be obviously if where UNLV and its students and the faculty and staff want to be, that has to be one of the gives, I think, especially in light of the competition between Nevada colleges and institutions for a limited budget.
Farrihn, what are your thoughts about the tuition increases that may come with
I
this?
fully support it. I am by myself, I'm single, and I pay for my college all out of pocket because it's affordable. I used to go to school in California, and though it was a private college, it was still extremely expensive. Compared to that, UNLV is extremely affordable. And I think that a tuition increase would be beneficial for here, and I think it'd be great, honestly. I think it would do us a lot, and UNLV needs some help financially, so increasing tuition I don't think would be that big of a deal.
Okay. And will the designation make it harder for local Las Vegas residents to get into UNLV?
I think right now in our entering freshmen this year, we have 6 National Merit Scholars and 60 valedictorians, 60 valedictorians. If we want to become a Tier 1 university, of course, we want to be the institution of choice for kids in our valley. So just the fact that we're probably admitting the best and brightest right now, and we're going after the valedictorians, that should continue. We should get 100% of all the valedictorians. You know, this should be the place that they want to go to. So once we get to that Tier 1 designation, you know, it should be the same for kids growing up in Michigan who want to go to U of M. You know, all these Tier 1 universities, that should be the focus. So I think it's only good if we move that way, because then we can get the best and brightest.
Sara, what are your thoughts on this?
I think, I mean, coming from a private institution in California, again, with like tuition costs and all of that, I definitely think that in tuition, in raising the cost, people, for education for these students is extremely important. So I think that they're willing to pay, willing to come, willing to learn. So if anything, that definitely will help in getting UNLV to where it's supposed to go. And as far as locally, I moved here just very recently. I'm new to campus as well. So I'm not fully familiar with how many local students actually come to UNLV, how many people decide to actually stay in the valley. So,
is anyone from Las Vegas or grew up here in Las Vegas? I guess not.
No, which is an interesting one. But even going off of that, it's also the rate of matriculation too. So we have so many students enrolled. How many are actually degree seeking? How many end up graduating? How many use UNLV as kind of a jumping board institution and complete their degrees elsewhere? You know, a university is literally an array of possibilities for every single student that walks in, and with that there come costs. And right now, UNLV isn't, I guess, hitting the pocket as much as it has to.
I'll have to cut you off right there. But great discussion. We'll be right back after the break.
Wow, these are really good.
You act surprised. Practice makes perfect.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who don't need perfection. They need you.
Did you know kids who play outdoors have healthier lungs?
Totally.
Did you know that boys that play with dolls make better husbands?
My son has lots of dolls. But did you know terry cloth diapers breathe better?
I did.
It's totally true.
Oh, yeah.
Did you guys know statistically friendly kids have more friends?
Yeah.
That's obvious.
Did you know most people think they're using the right car seat for their kid, but they're not?
Parents who really know it all know for sure that their child is in the right seat. Visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat to make sure your child is protected.
NFC, AFC, offensive linemen, defensive tackles, quarterbacks, and cornerbacks are all living united to ensure the academic success of millions of kids in our communities all the way to graduation day. But that won't happen without you. So take the pledge at unitedway.org. Make a difference in the life of a child. Suit up like your favorite NFL players and become a volunteer reader, tutor, or mentor with United Way.
All right, welcome back. And we are talking about UNLV possibly becoming a Tier 1 university. And Michael, what did you have to say?
We are the largest metro in the nation without a medical school. And you know, right now the regions have agreed to have a discussion about UNLV either having a medical school or moving the medical school down here from UNR. UNR right now has the medical school. Also, the Knowledge Fund that the legislature approved, the $10 million, UNLV is putting in a proposal to start or create an institute for clinical trials. And I think that will really help us to gain external funding, which will also help us, you know, to produce more research. If we really, the medical field is really where we need to go. If we can do these clinical trials and find out, and not just give you a pill, a generic fit-all pill, but really check your genomics and find out your genomes and then address whatever issue you have based on your genomics, I think that's the way of the future that healthcare is going to go. So if UNLV could be at the forefront of that, I mean, that'll be great for us.
And Farrihn, did you have something you wanted to mention about Tier 1?
Yeah, I don't think UNLV has a choice of whether they need to be a top Tier 1 school or not, because I think it just needs to happen. Too many people view UNLV, especially parents, and especially those that are out of state that may want to send their kids there, as a party school. Look at what we're surrounded by, the Strip. We need something that people are going to take this school more seriously. And I think that if we become a top Tier 1 school, we bring in medical research, people will take us seriously and people will want to send their kids here without the worry that this is just a party school.
Former Mayor Goodman had the idea of, you know, being a medical tourist, you know, capital. Flights here already we know is cheap, so people can come here for cheap. So if we can give them the medical care or give it cheaper than what they can find elsewhere, they can get here cheap. We have the rooms. People can come here for medical tourism. I think that is, you know, an area that UNLV can really grow in and help expand.
All right, and moving on, recently the RTC Bus Station located at UNLV has opened to the public. Senator Harry Reid and Governor Brian Sandoval gave speeches at the opening praising the new addition to campus. However, many students and faculty have disputed the benefits of the RTC Bus Station, including CSUN and UNLV athletics. What are your thoughts on the bus station? Do you think this was beneficial for UNLV? Sara, I'll start you off.
Oftentimes, you know, I walk by there, walking to parking lot to my car, and I don't see many people out there really using or taking advantage of this. So, like I said, I'm fairly new to campus, so I don't know what it looked like prior to this. But now, I mean, I walk there at night to my car, and I really don't see the purpose of it because I see that there is a stop, I believe, on Maryland and close to Tropicana. So the fact that they opened one here, pretty much I think isn't really, I mean, there was no necessity for it.
Okay. And what are your thoughts, Bree?
I think that there may have been better ways to work with the city or the transit system in coordinating more transportation for UNLV students. As being newer to campus, I walk past that thing 6 days a week, and maybe two or three times I've actually seen a bus or a person waiting. However, I can see how something like that, we do have a student body of 27,000 people. Not everybody has a vehicle. Consistent transportation and guaranteed transportation is obviously important to students. However, considering we lost, 60 parking spaces, lots of students are very upset about that. It is close to campus, close to where they would need to get to. I think that there probably could have been better ways to coordinate making that happen for students without sinking money into something that seems like it's not being used.
Okay, very good point. And then we'll have more on the RTC bus station right when we get back after the break. We'll have a lot more discussion.
Ever wonder what makes us, the Smurfs, so happy? The forest, of course. This is where we, along with the beautiful forest creatures, make our home with beautiful plant life, clean water, and endless adventures. It's a place to celebrate. So discover the forest with your family today. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you.
Oh, hey, bud. Where are you headed?
Just gonna hang out.
With Gary and Todd?
Yeah.
I've been meaning to ask you, is there any drinking going on in this crowd?
No.
If any of your buddies ever pressure you to take a drink, just tell them you promised your dad you wouldn't. I'd do anything to keep you safe.
Okay, I will.
I hope this is working.
I promise. Love you too, Dad.
They really do hear you. For tips on what to say, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
We have a job to do out here today.
To be a winning team, you have to work like a winning team.
My team depends on me.
And my team is 50,000 strong. Looks like a lot of work's going into this.
This is what it feels like to be part of a team.
A winning team.
The action team.
Get in on the action at actionteam.org. Are you in?
All right, thanks for staying with us. And we are talking about the UNLV RTC Bus Station. Also, Sarah was talking about how she hasn't seen many students, although we've just been informed that the passes that they've been selling on UNLV has actually sold out. So where these students are, I don't know. Also, the UNLV Bus Station project is part of the larger UNLV Now project with the stadium. And Farrihn, did you want to start us off with?
Sure.
Maybe talk about CSUN.
Yeah, CSUN and the busing thing that's going on now with the tailgating and the football, the coaches caravan, correct? Coaches caravan. Yeah, I guess it's the big mix-up now, and there's a lot of questions going on as to how students get to the games, and maybe Michael, you can fill us in on that.
No, I don't want to talk about that. The only thing I wanted to say was this RTC station was built with stimulus money. So this was money that was appropriated long before, we just see now. And I think also it's kind of a chicken and an egg issue is, yes, we don't see students right there, but we are moving. We want more students living on campus, and that is part of the Tier 1 initiative. So if we want more students living on campus, they're going to need more transportation. So do we build more residence halls first, or do we build this bus station first? And then, like in New York and other cities, these other big cities, people use public transportation. Yes, we know there are problems with it here in our valley, but this is maybe a good first step to get students to start using it. And we know there's not lines that go everywhere to every part of the valley, but that will come. The more students use it, RTC is willing to look at the lines and to expand it. So it's kind of a chicken and the egg right now. It'll happen. Maybe 5 years from now, then we can look at it and say, okay, that was a complete waste of money. Or 5 years from now, everybody could be using it. Who knows?
Well, and since it is fairly new, Jenny said that we are sold out as far as the student bus passes. So, I mean, I might just be going in and out of class at times when people
or they could just be using different
aren't
buses,
using,
though.
or that's true.
They could just you can use it's a bus pass. You're not obligated to use the RTC bus stop when you buy a bus pass. It just means that there's a lot of students, more students than we thought, taking the bus. And along those lines, as far as residence halls, I actually went to school in upstate New York, and there's a very concerted effort between city officials and the universities at practically all times because of transportation issues in the town. And the way that that's done and the way that it's articulated creates, it's a chicken and egg scenario, so their chicken or their egg would probably be creating the residence halls. So then you have the student population on campus, you can point to it, hey, we have this many kids that we are housing that need to get off of campus. Help us fund this, help us find a route. So it really is a question of what made more sense, and I'm not sure, since it was stimulus money, if perhaps our RTC, that transit station, was just more feasible with the funding, more so than a dormitory, which could have been the case as well.
And also another possibility, could the bus station possibly bring more crime on campus because the stops start right at UNLV?
Right now, I'm not aware of any incidents, and DPS, the Department of Police Services on campus, said because of the layout and because it's so open, and if you look at the lighting at night, it really is lit up right there, and they don't see that as being a problem for vagrants coming through there. On the other end, we do have an open campus. We're not like USC with a fence around, so I think we will always have the public, coming onto our campus and off, and having a bus station ending on campus, terminating on campus, you know, of course, we're going to have members of the public on our doorstep.
All right. Well, I guess only time will tell, depending on the usage of the bus station by students. We'll be back after this break.
A full life, measured in seats, starts with the right ones early on. Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Learn how to prevent deaths and injuries by using the right car seat for your child's age and size.
Hey, you going out like that?
Yeah, why?
Well, what would the neighbors think?
I see you! Come look at Mr. Feather!
Look what I have. Mr. Bird, remember?
We're just playing! We're just playing on trying to get you out of here!
Even still.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who don't need perfection. They need you.
If you drive buzzed, it could cost you around $10,000. You'll face major legal fees, major fines, and steep insurance penalties. You could lose everything. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Maybe he's really focused.
Hey, Michael. Michael. Maybe he likes spinning the wheels.
Maybe he just loves trucks.
Maybe he's just being a boy.
Preoccupation with objects is one early sign of autism. Learn the others today. The sooner it's diagnosed, the better.
All right, welcome back. And we are talking about the RTC bus station, and along with the bus station comes an increase in pedestrian crosswalks. Pedestrian safety has been a long-standing problem with drivers not paying attention and pedestrians not crossing where they should. Do you think more safety precautions could be made to help the situation? So, Sarah, do you want to start us off? Any thoughts first, just about, you know, more crosswalks with the bus station, maybe more traffic with pedestrians?
There's definitely a lot of pedestrian traffic going in and off the campus, even going toward the parking lots. And I think there are only 2 crosswalks, and they're pretty far away from each other. So one's right at the entrance where cars are pulling in and oftentimes not paying attention or distracted with their phones or music or whatnot. And I see people constantly stopping even when they hit the pedestrian lights to make sure and double check that they're okay to cross, because, I mean, I've seen cars just fly by even when pedestrians are crossing or when the lights are on. So it's always better to be safe than sorry and double check, because I personally, that's what I do. I double check. I don't feel safe enough to just kind of walk through, make sure to look both ways. So.
And Bree, what do you think?
I agree with you. It's actually kind of a maze figuring out parking for a first timer. You know, when you're trying to figure out where you're going, and actually the roads that you have to travel, the little side roads and the don't enters and the one way only, and there's several little spots around campus that it's just kind of confusing to find parking. So I think the pedestrian traffic and the parking go together. I think if we had more convenient parking in I guess a more large one concentrated location, you would cut down on pedestrian traffic. You would cut down on cars just even driving past kids walking to class, because that's really what it is you're going 2 miles per hour because someone is texting and walking with their back to you, and it's just
so you're saying part of the problem too is pedestrians that are not paying attention
Oh,
and that are walking
absolutely.
slow, that are texting on their phone.
Well, because you have the right of way. I mean, you're walking out of a parking lot. In your mind, you're not thinking you're on a road where there's drivers, which is, I think, also the part of the issue.
And Farrihn, what are your thoughts?
Actually, this morning I almost watched somebody hit somebody, or pedestrian. And it was off of Maryland and Reno Avenue, so I'm almost to campus. Just got off the freeway. So of course we're all zooming, but we see the pedestrian, And there's no blinking lights over there or anything like this crosswalk that we have over here in front of campus, but it would definitely benefit over there because there's a bus stop. And I think you find a lot of students that are driving on that road just like I am that are trying to get to school real quick because they know they have to spend 20 minutes trying to find a parking spot. So I think we're all in a rush, and sometimes people miss those pedestrians, just like the person that I saw zoom past and almost hit a mother and child. And yeah, there's a big issue in Vegas about crosswalks and pedestrian traffic and people hitting people. And it's scary, and something does need to be done, an effort that needs to be made. And I like that they put in some blinking lights for the crosswalk over here at the new bus station. Maybe we could put a couple of those around campus.
I mean, especially when there's a problem with both pedestrians and drivers. So, all right, we'll be back.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today.
I don't think anyone captured my first steps on camera. I was the 5th kid, and by that time, first steps weren't a big deal. I was 16 and driving home with my brother Ben. A distracted driver hit us. Ben died on impact. I had 47 days in a hospital bed for reality to settle in. With a major spinal cord injury, doctors said I would never walk again. But deep down, I knew I would. I prayed that every day. Family, friends, strangers, all started to pray for me to be able to walk again. The progress has been slow, and the victories hard won, but I feel the prayers.
Whether you need support in a tragedy or just to make it through a bad day, prayer can make a difference. America, let's come together by believing with each other.
For someone to come alongside you and say, I'm going to believe with you, it means a lot.
All right, thanks for staying with us. There has been a lot of changes at UNLV, and there are a lot of great things on the horizon. Thanks, everyone. Now that you know what we think, let us know what you think. Share your opinions and any ideas or topics you'd like us to scramble about to thescramble.unlv@gmail.com. You can also catch full episodes of The Scramble at unlv.tv. That's all the time we have for today. For all of us here at The Scramble, thanks for joining us, and we hope to see you next time.